Archangel Michael says this is only for you, and the moment you open this, a rush of divine light began moving toward you because the heavens have been watching you more closely than you realize. He says there are only a few minutes left in a spiritual window that was created just for you, a window that does not open for everyone, and a window that will not stay open forever. He is speaking with urgency not to frighten you, but because something massive is shifting in your destiny, and if you ignore the message now, the energy that was prepared specifically for you will return to the heavens unused. Michael says he does not want to see that happen, not after everything you have survived. Not after every moment where you fell on your knees and still kept trusting God in your quiet way, even when your heart was tired. He says you may not feel it, but the atmosphere around you is trembling with spiritual movement. Things that were stuck for years are being shaken open. Things that were hidden are rising to the surface. Things that were unfair are being corrected one by one. Michael says there is a reason you have been feeling restless, as though something is coming but you cannot put words to it. That restlessness is not fear, it is spiritual anticipation. It is the soul sensing a breakthrough before the human mind can understand it. He wants you to know that nothing is going wrong with you. Nothing is falling apart, nothing is breaking down. God is realigning you. God is positioning you. God is removing what cannot go into the next season of your life. Michael says you must hear this carefully. A massive change is not always loud. It begins quietly, like a whisper at the bottom of your spirit. It begins as a subtle shift in your emotions, in your thoughts, in the way you see the world. And then, suddenly, it becomes a wave that touches every part of your life. That wave is already approaching you. It is closer than you think. It is already rearranging situations you have been praying about. It is already moving people out of your path who do not belong in your future. It is already opening spaces for your blessings to enter. He says you have cried in silence more times than you admit. You have suffered in ways only God knows. You have been patient even when patience hurt. You have carried responsibilities that weren't meant to be yours. You have been strong for people who never realized how much you were sacrificing. But the heavens saw it. They witnessed your pain. They counted your tears. They recorded your faithfulness even when life didn't seem fair. Michael says those tears were never wasted. They became seeds, and now the season of harvest is beginning, but he warns, harvest comes only when you do not give up at the edge of breakthrough. He says this is why he is speaking firmly, because he sees how close you are to stepping into something transformative. He sees how close you are to receiving the thing you prayed for, the thing you whispered at night, the thing you asked God for with a trembling heart. He says it is closer than your doubt, closer than your fear, closer than anything that ever tried to stop you. Michael says there are forces that tried to distract you recently. They tried to confuse you, drain your energy, make you question your worth, make you feel alone, make you believe you are forgotten. But he reveals that none of those things were accidents. They were distractions designed to pull you away from your destiny. The moment a major blessing is about to arrive, negative distractions rise because darkness senses what heaven is preparing. But he says you overcame them. Even on the days you felt weak, you didn't give up. Even on the days you felt lost, your spirit kept moving forward. And now, heaven is rewarding that endurance. He says God is not going wrong with you, God is walking ahead of you. God is clearing the path. God is removing burdens from your shoulders. God is restoring what you lost. God is preparing what you dreamed of. God is arranging divine protection around you, even in moments when you feel vulnerable. Michael says you are safe, even when your mind worries, even when your heart hesitates. You are protected in ways you cannot even see. He says there is something you need to understand. Your life is shifting into alignment with your true purpose. Everything you went through was preparing you for a season where you finally receive peace, stability, breakthroughs, clarity, and spiritual elevation. This is not random. This is not a coincidence. You have entered a transition point in your destiny, and the heavens are invested in making sure you do not miss what belongs to you. Michael says he has been watching the heaviness in your spirit. You have been carrying questions that stole your sleep. You have been wondering why certain people changed, why certain doors closed, why certain relationships faded, why certain opportunities disappeared. He says all of this was divine protection. Some people were removed because they would have taken advantage of your generosity. Some situations ended because they would have drained your energy. Some paths were blocked because they would have delayed your blessing. Michael wants you to understand that rejection was actually redirection. Loss was actually rebirth. Delay was actually preparation. He says your heart needs to know this truth. God didn't take anything from you that was meant to stay. God didn't close any door that was meant to open. God didn't remove any person who was meant to be part of your destiny. Every shift was intentional. Every moment was guided. Every experience was shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, more spiritually awakened, and more ready for what is coming. Michael says the next phase of your life will unfold in ways you never expected. You are going to step into blessings that feel almost unreal compared to what you endured. You are going to feel loved in ways you have longed for. You are going to experience support that is genuine and pure. You are going to walk into opportunities that make you say, God, why did you choose me for something this big? And God will answer in your heart, because you stayed faithful when others would have given up. Michael says he is giving you a final warning, not to scare you, but to protect you. He says if you ignore this message, the window of divine timing may shift, and he cannot intervene in the same way again. He is urging you to stay spiritually alert, to stay prayerful, to stay connected to God even when life feels uncertain. He says your energy must remain protected. Your heart must remain guarded. Your faith must remain solid. The miracle is close, but your participation matters. He says something beautiful. Your name has been spoken in heaven today. Angels have discussed your destiny. Your future has been placed under divine review. Heaven has released approval over something you have been waiting for. And soon, you will understand why everything happened the way it did. Michael says he is standing beside you now, not in anger but in deep concern. He wants you to be ready. He wants you to receive. He wants you to step into the life God has planned for you. He wants you to know that you are not alone, never have been, never will be, and he says this softly but firmly: trust God. Pray. Stay open. The change is already on its way to you. Archangel Michael is standing close to you right now, closer than he has been in a very long time, and he is speaking with an urgency that your soul has felt but your mind has not fully understood. He says this moment is only for you, this window is open only for you, and these next few minutes are more important than you can imagine. He whispers that massive changes are being aligned above your life right now, changes that will shift your path, your relationships, your finances, your peace, your emotional strength, and even the people who walk into or out of your journey. He says the next movements in your destiny are already forming, and those movements are powerful, divine, and life-altering. He urges you not to ignore this message because this is the moment your future begins to change direction. He says you have been carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours, holding fears that did not belong to your spirit, and walking through days that looked normal on the outside but felt heavy inside your heart. He knows you have been strong for too long, patient for too long, and quiet for too long about what has wounded you. He knows the nights when your heart whispered to God for help, protection, and clarity, even when you didn't speak the words out loud. Michael says heaven heard every one of those silent prayers, and your soul was never unseen, no matter how alone you felt. He is telling you right now that the 5-minute urgency is not meant to scare you but to wake you, to shake your spirit, to make you aware that something big is shifting. He says this moment is not random, this message is not accidental, and this timing is not a coincidence. It is synchronized with something heaven has prepared for you. Something that was delayed, something that was blocked, something that someone tried to interfere with, but God has decided that the delay ends now. Michael says the season of blockages is closing, and a season of massive forward movement is opening, but your awareness, your attention, and your willingness to receive this message are extremely important. He says someone tried to dim your spirit, but they failed. Someone tried to confuse you, but you were protected. Someone tried to slow down your blessings, but God shielded your destiny. He says you do not even realize how many times you were protected from attacks you never saw, situations you were never told about, and negative energies that were stopped before they even reached you. Heaven has been watching you carefully, constantly, and lovingly. Michael says that you are one of the souls who carries a light that threatens darkness, and that is why so many obstacles came your way. But he also says that every obstacle you faced became a testimony of your resilience, and the heavens are preparing to reward you for surviving seasons that were designed to break you. He says you have been walking through life feeling like something big is about to happen, and you were right. That intuition was not imagination, it was divine alignment. There is a shift happening around you, a rearranging of energies, a clearing of old patterns, and the removal of people who were never supposed to stay in your story. Heaven is pulling you out of cycles that repeated too many times, cycles where you gave too much, trusted too much, sacrificed too much, and received too little. Michael wants you to know that your giving nature is beautiful, but heaven is stepping in to make sure you no longer pour into people who do not value you. He says that change is coming whether you feel ready or not, but he will walk with you through every transition. He says massive change is not something to fear, it is something to embrace because it is the only thing that can take you from stagnation into growth, from waiting into receiving, and from confusion into clarity. He says your life is about to shift so quickly that you will look back and wonder how everything changed in such a short time. What seemed impossible will begin to happen. What was delayed will suddenly move. What felt blocked will suddenly open. What felt confusing will suddenly become clear. And he says these shifts are not random, they are the result of your prayers, your endurance, your inner growth, and your spiritual strength. He says the timeline of your destiny has been accelerated by divine authority. There are blessings that were supposed to come later, but heaven decided you have waited long enough. He says your patience has been seen, your heart has been examined, and your intentions have been judged worthy. The angels have been working behind the scenes to open doors no human can close and to close doors no human can reopen. He says every time you felt forgotten, you were actually being prepared. Michael says there are 3 major changes coming to your life. He wants you to be aware so you don't fear them, resist them, or misunderstand them when they appear. The first change will be emotional. There will be a release of old wounds, old memories, old attachments, and old fears that no longer serve the version of you God is creating. He says your heart will feel lighter because heaven is removing energy that has been weighing you down. You may find yourself crying unexpectedly or feeling emotions rise for no logical reason, and he says that is healing, not weakness. He says you are being emptied so you can be filled again. The second change will be relational. People who are not aligned with your destiny will begin distancing, fading, or revealing their true nature. Michael says this is not punishment, it is protection. He says some people's presence in your life was delaying your blessings, draining your energy, or misguiding your spirit. Heaven will not allow certain souls to walk into your next chapter with you. He says new people will enter your life, people who are genuine, supportive, spiritually aligned, and meant to elevate you. He says your soul tribe is forming, and you will feel less alone than you have in years. The third change will be material and spiritual combined. There will be unexpected opportunities. Financial openings, breakthroughs, and blessings that come with no explanation other than divine intervention. He says your efforts are being multiplied, your work is being noticed, and your path is being cleared. He says doors you could not open by yourself will now open effortlessly because heaven is turning the key. He says you will begin to see signs, synchronicities, repeated numbers, dreams, and sudden moments of inspiration, These are divine confirmations that you are walking into your next level. Michael says there is something important you must know. Ignoring spiritual messages delays blessings because your awareness plays a role in manifestation. He says when heaven sends a message with urgency, it means something is happening immediately in the spiritual realm. He says he does not want you to fear his words, he wants you to honor them. He says he will not abandon you, but he wants you to understand the seriousness of this moment. He says this message is time-sensitive because the window of opportunity is open now, not later. He says God has declared you safe. Even when you felt uncertain, even when people misunderstood you, even when life felt overwhelming, you were safe. He says nothing will go wrong with you because you are protected, guided, and surrounded by divine power. He says trust is the key that unlocks everything. He says when you trust God, you invite miracles. When you trust God, you activate protection. When you trust God, you rise above what was meant to crush you. He says that trust is your anchor during change. Michael says there are hidden blessings coming. Something you lost will return in a better form. Something you prayed for will arrive differently than expected but better than you imagined. Something that was taken from you will be restored in a way that proves God's love for you. He says the next phase of your life will show you why every disappointment had divine timing, why every delay protected you, and why every heartbreak shaped your spiritual strength. He says your energy is shifting. You will feel more intuitive, more spiritually sensitive, more connected to signs, more aware of God's presence, and more aligned with your purpose. He says heaven is awakening your spiritual gifts, some of which you don't even know you have yet. He says you will begin to sense things before they happen, feel when someone is lying, know when something is wrong, and recognize opportunities that are meant for you. He says this spiritual awakening is part of the massive change unfolding in your life. He says God is preparing a season where you will rise from everything that tried to hold you down. This is the season where your tears become strength, your struggles become wisdom, and your wounds become testimony. He says the pain you have carried has not been wasted. It has been transformed into spiritual authority. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, clearer, calmer, and more powerful than ever before. He wants you to know that you are not behind, you are right on time. You are not forgotten, you are chosen. You are not unworthy, you are deeply loved. You are not alone, heaven is surrounding you. He says this message reached you at the exact second it was supposed to reach you. He says divine timing is perfect, and nothing in your life is happening randomly. Michael says you must continue to pray, continue to trust, continue to believe, and continue to open your heart to God. He says your prayers have more power than you realize. Your words move heaven. Your faith shifts energy. Your spirit influences your destiny. He says never underestimate the strength of your connection to God. He says massive changes are already unfolding, even now, as you read these words. He is clearing the path ahead. He is guiding your steps. He is removing obstacles. He is protecting you silently. He is working on situations you don't even know exist. He is fighting battles you never saw. And He says He will stay by your side, guiding, protecting, and strengthening you, as long as your heart remains open to God. He says this is your moment. This is your shift. This is your confirmation. This is your divine turning point. And He says gently, with firmness, with divine love, trust God, pray sincerely, and don't ignore the signs heaven is sending you right now. Massive changes are coming, but you will walk through them safely, protected, and blessed. You are safe. You are protected. You are chosen. And everything is about to change, beautifully, powerfully, and divinely, for you. Archangel Michael says this is only for you, and he repeats it because he needs you to feel the weight of what is unfolding around you right now. He says there are only 5 minutes left in the spiritual sense, not human minutes, but divine timing minutes, moments where a shift is already happening, where the energy around your life is rearranging faster than you can understand. He wants you to know this is not a punishment, not a danger, not something meant to scare you. This is a calling. A moment that has been written for you long before you were born. He says, open this message fully with your heart, not just your eyes. He says, if you keep doubting your worth, if you keep doubting your path, you will miss the doorway God is placing in front of you right now. You are safe. You are protected. God covers you completely. But you must trust. You must pray. You must believe something enormous is moving in your favor even if you cannot see it yet. Archangel Michael says massive changes are coming, and you have felt it. The sudden heaviness in your chest for no reason. The unexpected thoughts that appear in your mind, the dreams that feel like warnings, the restlessness, the feeling that you are on the verge of something but you don't know what it is. These are signs. Heaven has been preparing you for this. You didn't imagine it. You didn't exaggerate it. You weren't wrong. Something real is shifting in the spiritual realm. Something that involves your destiny, your finances, your relationships, your healing, and the next chapter of your life that God has been quietly building. Michael says you have been walking through a season of pressure that was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you. To remove what does not belong. To expose who cannot walk with you. To strengthen what God is growing in you. Every delay you faced, every confusion, every tear you cried in silence when no one knew what you were going through, all of it mattered. Heaven watched all of it. And not a single tear was ignored. Michael says you need to understand that what you felt as setbacks were actually divine rearrangements. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Not everyone who walked away was meant to stay. Not every door that closed was rejection. Some doors closed because God knew what you couldn't see. Archangel Michael says your life is about to expand. You are stepping into something sacred, something promised, something long awaited. He says the reason you are receiving this message right now is because you are entering a moment where you will not be able to go back to who you were. You will not think the same, love the same, trust the same, fear the same, or hope the same. You are being lifted, elevated, rewritten. He says this energy around you is serious, not frightening, but serious in the sense that what is coming is important for your soul's path. It's something you prayed for, something you asked God for in moments you barely remember because you were too exhausted to believe anything good could come. But heaven remembered every whisper. Heaven recorded every prayer. Archangel Michael says he will never leave you. He says the urgency in his voice is not a threat, it is love. It is the protective energy of a guardian who has been watching you from the moment you entered this world. Who has stood beside you in nights where you felt alone, who has guided you even when you didn't recognize the guidance. He says, if you ignore this, I cannot help you in the way you are meant to be helped, not because I want to leave you, but because the next steps require your participation, your openness, your acceptance. He says he is not leaving you. He is calling you. You must choose to open, choose to trust, choose to receive. There are massive changes coming, and you have already felt the beginning of them. Your intuition has been louder. Your sensitivity has increased. You have noticed how certain people suddenly drift away. You have seen unexpected truths revealing themselves. You have felt tired for no reason, emotional without explanation, hopeful one moment and uncertain the next. These are symptoms of transformation. They are signs that your life is being reordered so something new can enter. Archangel Michael says God is not going wrong with you. Not now, not ever. You are safe. You are deeply protected. You are surrounded by light even when you feel like you are standing in darkness. He says the reason things felt intense recently is because your spirit was being upgraded to a higher level of awareness, clarity, and strength. You are not the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a week ago. You are changing rapidly because your life is about to change rapidly. Michael says there is something specific that is coming toward you, something that will shift your financial life, your emotional life, and your spiritual life. Something that will feel like the breaking of a storm after a long season of waiting. You may not see the full picture yet, but he says you will soon. He says the next blessings will come suddenly, unexpectedly, like a door opening that you didn't know existed. He wants you to be prepared, not scared. Prepared mentally, prepared emotionally, prepared spiritually. Because when things start moving, they will move fast. Heaven is positioning you for a breakthrough that was delayed, but never denied. There were people who misunderstood you. Seasons that drained you, obstacles that slowed you down. But nothing stopped you. You kept surviving. You kept going. You kept believing even when part of you wanted to give up. That is why Michael says this message is only for you. Because very few people carry the heart you carry. Very few people have endured what you endured. Very few people have held on to their light even when they were surrounded by darkness. Archangel Michael says he has been fighting battles for you that you do not know about. Clearing paths you never saw. Protecting you from choices that would have harmed you. Shielding you from people who carried heavy energy. Guiding you away from situations that were not aligned with your future. He says the things you lost were not losses. They were divine protections. The things that didn't work out didn't fail, they ended because God wanted to bring you something better. Michael says a massive emotional release is coming to you soon. A moment where everything suddenly makes sense. A moment where you will feel lighter, freer, stronger. A moment where you will understand why God held you back, why certain people were removed, why certain doors closed, why certain seasons were heavy. He says clarity is coming. Peace is coming. Restoration is coming. Healing is coming. He also says someone from your past may attempt to return, but not everyone deserves access to you again. Not everyone is meant to walk into the next season with you. Your energy is precious. Your spirit is growing. Your boundaries are shifting. And heaven will help you discern who is for you and who is not. Michael says God is bringing balance into your life. Everything that felt chaotic is being organized. Everything that felt unfair is being corrected. Everything that felt lost is being returned in a brand new form. He wants you to trust. Trust even when you cannot see. Pray even when you feel tired. Believe even when you feel unsure. He says your breakthrough will not come through force, it will come through surrender. Through faith. Through allowing God to take the lead. Through letting go of fear, guilt, and self-doubt. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be for what heaven is preparing. Archangel Michael says your heart is opening again. Your faith is returning. Your spirit is rising. You may feel emotionally sensitive right now, but that sensitivity is not weakness. It is spiritual intelligence. You are sensing shifts before they happen. You are picking up on energies before they manifest. This is a gift. He says your gifts will increase. Your intuition will sharpen. Your connection to God will become stronger. You will hear guidance more clearly. You will feel divine presence more deeply. You will walk with confidence instead of fear. You will speak with clarity instead of confusion. You will move with purpose instead of hesitation. He says your blessings will start as small signs, tiny confirmations, unexpected messages, sudden opportunities, moments of peace, emotional releases, inner knowing. These signs will multiply. They will grow. They will build upon each other until the breakthrough becomes undeniable. He wants you to stay receptive, stay open, stay grounded. He wants you to take care of your body, your mind, your spirit. He wants you to rest when you need to rest, pray when you feel lost, breathe when you feel overwhelmed, and trust when things don't make sense. He says you are closer than you think. much closer. He says the moment you feel like giving up is often the moment right before the shift. And you are standing in that moment now. He repeats again, massive changes are coming. Good changes. Divine changes. Life-altering changes. He says your story is not ending. It is beginning in a new way. You are entering a season of blessings that will make you forget the heaviness of the past. You will rise. You will transform. You will glow. You will walk in strength, confidence, and divine protection. Michael says, open this. Receive this. Believe this. Because what is coming is not ordinary. It is divine. God is with you. God is protecting you. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are blessed. You are chosen. Trust, pray, breathe, and allow heaven to lead your next steps. Your life is about to change. And this time, it will change in your favor. Archangel Michael says this is only for you, and as these words reach you, he whispers with a firmness that feels like a sacred pulse in your chest. 5 minutes left. 5 minutes before something shifts around you in a way you didn't expect, didn't plan, didn't even understand was already forming in the unseen. He says he has been watching the weight on your heart, the heaviness you carry alone, the questions that press against your spirit at night when no one sees your silent conversations with God. He says he has walked through storms with you, even when you thought you were walking alone, and he has stood guard when your spirit was exhausted. But now he says this moment is different. He says this message is not a regular one. It is not routine. It is not casual. He says this moment is a turning point that heaven itself has been preparing for you, and if you ignore this moment, he will step back, not because he wants to, but because you must show with your heart that you are ready for what is coming next. He says massive changes are already forming in the atmosphere around your life. He says you may not feel them yet, but they are as real as your breath. He says heaven bends time when it must. And right now time is bending toward you, opening a path you didn't know could open. Michael says you have cried for certain things, prayed for certain answers, begged heaven for clarity, and wondered why there were delays, silence, confusion, and moments where nothing made sense at all. He says what you didn't see was that every unanswered question was actually a divine pause, a heavenly protection, a spiritual timing adjustment ensuring that what belongs to you would not arrive early and break, and what was not meant for you would not stay and harm your spirit. He says you must open this message fully, not just with your eyes, but with your soul. He says if you read it half-hearted, the blessings coming will not land the way heaven intends. He says your spiritual posture in this moment matters. Your focus matters. Your readiness matters. Your openness matters. He says these words are being placed directly into your spirit for a reason no one else around you can understand. He says the changes you are about to experience are not small changes, not subtle changes, not temporary changes. They are deep, permanent, life-shaping, destiny-activating changes that will lift you out of the phase you have been stuck in for far too long. He says you have carried burdens that were not meant to be yours, burdens that belonged to other people but somehow ended up on your shoulders. He says you kept trying to fix things God never asked you to fix. You kept trying to hold people together who were breaking you in the process. You kept giving love to people who gave confusion in return. You kept fighting for people who would not fight for you. Michael says heaven saw all of this. Heaven saw your loyalty. Heaven saw your pure heart. Heaven saw your good intentions that others misunderstood. Heaven saw your faith even when you felt your faith shaking. Heaven saw how you kept praying even when nothing seemed to change. He says this is why the change coming is massive. Not because you demanded it, but because God decided it was time. God decided that you have suffered enough. God decided that your waiting is not punishment, it is preparation. God decided that what you have lost will be restored in ways that will make you understand why the loss was necessary. God decided that people who underestimated you will no longer have access to your spirit. God decided to lift you from the shadows into a place where you can breathe again, hope again, trust again, and live again without constant fear of being betrayed or abandoned. Michael says you must listen carefully now, because this part is important. He says there are moments in a person's life where heaven tests the seriousness of their faith. Not by giving them battles, but by giving them opportunities disguised as warnings. He says this is one of those moments. He says, if you ignore this, I will never help, not because he wants to leave you, but because your next chapter requires your participation. He says to receive what is coming, you must choose it. You must align your heart with heaven, not with fear, not with worry, not with anxiety, not with the voices around you who don't understand your spiritual journey. He says the 5 minutes left are symbolic. They represent urgency, not danger. They represent divine timing, not panic. They represent that heaven is ready to move, and you must be ready too. He says your life is about to shift in the areas you thought were locked. Doors that were shut for years are about to open as if they were never closed. People you thought forgot you are about to remember you at the exact moment God needs them to. Opportunities you thought were impossible are about to find you effortlessly. Situations that felt stuck are about to move again. He says your story has been slow, but your breakthrough will be sudden. He says God has watched you survive things that would have destroyed others. God has watched you hold on to hope even when hope felt thin. God has watched you wake up on days when you wanted to give up entirely. God has watched you keep going, even with a tired spirit, even with an unhealed heart, even with unanswered prayers. God says He is proud of you. Michael says God has chosen this moment to send you this message because now is when the shift begins. He says there are people around you who do not know the weight you carry. They laugh with you, talk to you, socialize with you, but they do not know the pressure inside your heart. They do not know the spiritual storms you walk through silently. They do not know the private tears, the private battles, the private fears, the private disappointments you don't share with anyone. But heaven knows. Heaven has seen every silent moment. Heaven has counted every tear. Heaven has collected every prayer. Heaven has watched every night where you tried to stay strong even though you felt weak. He says this is why the coming change is not random, it is compensation. Compensation for the seasons you gave everything and received very little. Compensation for the times you were loyal to people who were careless with your heart. Compensation for the moments you were honest in situations where others were not. Compensation for the prayers that seemed unanswered but were actually working behind the scenes. Compensation for the time you lost, the energy you lost, the peace you lost. He says you have grown spiritually in ways you don't even realize. You became wiser. You became stronger. You became more aware. You became more aligned with God. You learned to let go of people who drained your spirit. You learned to protect your peace. You learned to speak less and pray more. You learned to listen to your intuition. You learned the difference between what is temporary and what is divine. And because of these lessons, heaven can now trust you with the blessings that were delayed. He says your blessings were never denied, they were delayed until you became the version of yourself who could handle them. He says heaven does not give powerful blessings to unprepared hands. Heaven gives them to those whose hearts have been shaped, tested, and refined. He says you are now stepping into a season where delays end and movement begins. He says there is something very specific you need to hear. He says in the next chapter of your life, God will remove certain people from your path, not because they are bad, but because they cannot go where you are going. He says some people were meant only for a season, not a lifetime. He says you must not hold on to people when God is pulling you forward. He says you must allow God to guide your connections, your relationships, your opportunities, your path. He says the massive changes coming will surprise you. He says they will come quickly, like a sudden shift of wind. One moment life will feel familiar, and the next moment everything will look different. You may even feel overwhelmed at first, not because the changes are negative, but because you have waited so long that receiving what you prayed for will feel surreal. He says do not fear the change. Do not doubt it. Do not resist it. Embrace it. Trust it. Welcome it. It is heaven's reward for your endurance. He says God will be with you in every step of the shift. God will not let anything go wrong for you. God will protect you. God will guide you. God will lift you. God will send you signs, confirmations, and opportunities that will make you understand how blessed and supported you truly are. Michael says this is your moment. This is your turning point. This is your divine timeline aligning. This is your spirit rising. This is your purpose unfolding. This is the change heaven promised. This is the blessing that was always yours. And he says once more, with a voice that feels like light itself, 5 minutes left. Open this fully. Do not ignore it. Do not doubt it. Trust God. Pray deeply. Your life is about to change in a way